Thanks for watching the Council in Brief. I'm Susan Kennedy. We're here with the news of the Montgomery County Council for the second week in February. And we start this time with a new report from the Council's Office of Legislative Oversight that analyzes the county's Department of Liquor Control. The report presents several options that could lead to the reform of the agency that's been under scrutiny recently for how it conducts business. The Montgomery County Department of Liquor Control provides licensing and sales of alcoholic beverages in the county. The annual revenue of the agency fully funds the department's expenses, and on average it contributes close to $30 million to the general fund per year. The council requested the report, which suggests 5 options for changing the county's alcohol structure.
How do you mitigate the impacts on the budget? How do you make sure that you have fair treatment for the workforce? There's a lot of things we're going to have to work our ways through. But I think that they all are realistic in different ways.
Mark Elrich says he believes some of the options for reform make sense, but doesn't think complete deregulation of the department is the answer.
I think replacing the revenues is a real challenge, and I don't think there's a viable, easy way to replace the revenues. And $30 million in profit is a lot of money. And nobody's really talking about what happens when you change your labor force and you go from people who have decent jobs to people who don't have decent jobs.
Recently, some county-owned liquor stores have reported big losses, and the agency's fleet of trucks is old and in the constant state of maintenance. There have also been cases where alcohol has gone missing and instances of employees drinking on the job. But Councilmember Elrich says that's commonplace across the board.
I think the management issues are things that can be fixed, but I worked in the private sector. Anything you can identify these workers as having done, you will find in the private sector. And anybody who thinks that this is only something that would happen because it's a government enterprise and doesn't happen in other businesses is just not being realistic.
Councilmember Reamer says he believes competition in the market would be a good thing, that in the end it's about serving the customer.
We have one distributor that has no incentive to provide good service. And the businesses are helpless in terms of being able to put pressure on their, the company that they buy from, essentially, to do a good job.
In other news, the council has thrown its support behind a resolution that supports the use of plant-based materials for infill on artificial turf fields. This after concerns have been raised about the use and effect of crumb rubber on turf fields. Roger Berliner explains.
There's a lot of concern with respect to crumb rubber, and we've looked at it, and we weren't in a position to say it's so dangerous that we want to ban it, but we are in a position to say if there's an alternative, we are going to embrace it. So the point of this resolution is there is a next generation of artificial turf out there that uses fundamentally organic material, and we are going to proceed on that basis going forward. This will be more expensive, and I think we're making a value judgment, and I think the school system is making a value judgment, and our Parks Department is making a value judgment that in order to take these concerns off the table, it's worth spending more money.
Council members recently heard testimony from residents on a minor master plan amendment for a small section in Aspen Hill where an office building has stood empty since 2010. The property is zoned for office use, but planners are requesting other types of businesses be allowed to operate there. Nancy Florine briefed us on where this proposal stands.
The challenge is that we have some new zones in place that offer a certain amount of flexibility. And when people were arguing about whether or not there was a proposal for a Walmart there, at least you knew what you were dealing with. You were dealing with this big box, and Walmart and whatever you felt associated with Walmart caused people to have really strong views one way or the other. Now people are concerned about the unknown. And the question for us is what's the right category of zoning to put on the land that will get the community what it wants, but offer the nimbleness and the flexibility that we put in place in that whole area to achieve that. So the zone right now that's proposed is actually the zoning on the shopping center that everybody likes, right there in Aspen Hill.
Well, that does it for this edition of the Council in Brief. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kennedy. Thanks for watching.